Well, the self-appointed elites have finally finished at Davos, and now we get to sift through all of their comments to try to extract a bigger picture of what's to come. So let's take a look. We're going to start off with some comments. From Christine Lagarde, and we're going to see if we can pick up on a theme here because you know as much as people like to imagine that these people think for themselves, they're all just being told what to do, and they're all, in my eyes, being told what to do by Klaus Schwab. Anyways, let's dive into it and let's take a look at some of these comments. Okay, we're gonna start off here first. First, we are gonna start off with this tweet from Borg Brend, or Borg Brend, however you want to pronounce it. Anyways, he is the He is the president of the World Economic Forum, former Foreign Trade and Industry and Environment Minister of Norway, MP. All right, good stuff. So what did he have to say? The world has experienced a gradual slide from cooperation to competition to conflict. In this new and unsettled era, world leaders must adapt their understanding and practice of geopolitics because time is running out to address critical global challenges. Okay, so hold on. Before we continue, I just want to point out a great salesman tactic, okay, is to create, first of all, you provide a problem that only you have a solution for, and the best part of it is that you make it time sensitive. When you make something time sensitive, you make it so that people can't really dig through the nuance to figure out if this is really the best decision for them or not. Anyways, all right, next up, the managing director of the IMF News, I believe it here, Kristalina Georgieva. Okay, let's hear what Kristalina had to say.
Why we should be cautious? Well, first, 2.7, if this is the growth we achieve, by far is not fabulous. This is the third lowest growth rate in the last decades after the global financial crisis and COVID. It's not great. Second, we don't know quite yet how inflation would march downwards. What if the good news of China growing faster translates into oil and gas prices jumping up, putting pressure on inflation? And three,
Okay. So obviously, right, in her eyes, we need a managing body, right, that can navigate us through this very complex scenario. And of course, we need human beings to administer this policy. Okay. All right. That's my takeaway from this. Let's continue. Our favorite. You know that there's going to be some absolute freaking gems coming out of Christine Lagarde. Okay. Let's hear what Christine's take is on what's going on. So let's see. She's talking about why policymakers, corporations, and consumers must adopt a resilient, determined approach for digital, green, and inclusive growth. Very beautiful words. I love the word inclusion. Did you know that the word inclusion for them means that you're included whether you want to be or not? See, true inclusion is the ability to opt in or opt out of a system whenever you so desire as an individual. Okay, that's inclusive, something that doesn't force you into something, but in their eyes, it's a little bit different. Anyways, let's hear what Christine had to say.
So something must be getting better, and certainly better than what we feared initially. 22 was just a weird year when you look at it. Inelasticity of supply, no real big engine for growth. If you look at the GDP numbers, it's totally, counterintuitive. Growth in the United States, 1.9%. Growth in China, 3.3%. Growth in Europe, 3.4%. Those are not usual numbers. This is not the normal ranking that you have. So we are now heading to a year where hopefully the corporates, the consumers, the state, policymakers will continue to have that resilient, determined approach in order to engineer the transitions that must take place, whether it's
Oh, did you hear that? That was very important. Engineer. the transition, right? Because there is an intelligent designer, a person or group at the top, if you will, that are they're gonna shift our focus and make sure that we do the right things by whoever this managerial group is. Okay, anyways, let's dive into this now. Let's see where all of this rhetoric and bullshit comes from. Because it all comes from somewhere. Specifically, it comes from Klaus Schwab, and it was written in 1971. I actually covered this when I was on Simply Bitcoin. I did an extensive episode digging through the history of the World Economic Forum. And essentially, Klaus Schwab's paper was an engineering paper, and it was written for a company that he worked for. And essentially what happens is that he's porting this paper over to managing the world, so to speak. Anyways, let's continue on. Okay, we are on the World Economic Forum website, and here we go. This is the revamped paper from Klaus Schwab that was originally written in the 70s. Stakeholder capitalism. A global economy that works for progress, people, and planet. Well, that sounds really good. This just works for everyone, as long as you do what a very small group of people say you do. And as long as you make sure that they stay in charge, because they are the only true architects of humanity. And if we don't do what they say, humanity is doomed. The stakeholder concept goes a long way back, more than 50 years. I first wrote about it in 1971, and this is Klaus Schwab who wrote this article, obviously, when I was a young business academic. But its roots go even further in the 50s and 60s. It was quite natural for a company and its CEO to consider not just shareholders, but everyone who has a stake in the success of a firm. So this is where the idea comes from, of the stakeholder capitalism. Now, here's another article written by Klaus Schwab in 2019. What kind of capitalism do we want? So here, I'm paraphrasing, he's talking about his particular option. Okay, so first he gives shareholder capitalism, and then after that, he goes on to explain state capitalism. But of course, those two options, right? Those two options adopted by the Western world, which don't put him in power, those options are shit. Okay, we need the option that puts Klaus in the driver's seat. Here we go. The third has the most to recommend it. That's right. The most people are recommending stakeholder capitalism. Stakeholder capitalism, a model I first proposed a half a century ago. See, that is specifically added in there so that you think there's a long history of stakeholder capitalism. This might work, right? This might just work. Positions private corporations. This is good. Private corporations as trustees of society, and is clear the best response to today's social and environmental challenges. That's right. That's right, people. It's going to be the corporations, the private corporations are now the trustees of society. Now we're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to this in a second. Having worked for a few Fortune 500 companies, we're going to discuss the absolute mindfuck brainwashing that they do to get you to believe this type of stupidity. Okay, so here's the high-level overview of the manifesto. Okay, the purpose of professional management is to serve clients. The management has to serve its clients. It has to satisfy its clients' needs and give them the best value. Now, when you have a single group architecting at the top, who exactly is fact-checking those people, and who exactly is keeping them honest, so to speak? Remember, this system that they're trying to convince us into is with the World Economic Forum at the top, telling us all us little peons, how we should live. The management has to serve its employees. So keep in mind, right? You were a citizen before, okay, in the country that you're in. You're now a fucking employee. Welcome to stakeholder capitalism. Hey, you just went from living in a country, being a citizen, to now you're an employee. Anyways, not that there's anything wrong with being an employee, but this is a fucking trick. Anyways, just my opinion. The management has to serve its employees because in a free society, leadership must integrate the interests of those who are led. In particular, the management has to ensure the continuity of employees, the improvement of real income, and the humanization of the workplace. Doesn't mean a fucking thing. And keep in mind, they are the rule makers, so they're going to decide what the improvement of real income is. They're going to decide what humanization of the workplace is. And you're just going to shut up and you're going to take it. Because you don't know any better. I don't know any better. We're fucking peons, people. That's what we are. We're just dumb. Dumb, and we don't know what we're doing. And we need these intelligent designers to tell us how to live our lives. All right, I will continue. You can see this stuff triggers me. Anyways, it must assume the role of a trustee of the material universe for future generations. Oh my gosh, the World Economic Forum, the custodian of the world in the universe. These people are fucking nuts, okay? They're fucking nuts. And I believe that they're gaslighting us all with this insane shit. Anyways. And it also doesn't help that Klaus Schwab literally looks like the guy from Flash Gordon, Ming. Like, I mean, he actually looks just like Ming and Dr. Evil. I mean, I can't, we're not making this up. This is, anyways. Okay. This has to be a psyop. Okay, let's finish this one up. The management can achieve the above objectives through the economic enterprise for which it is responsible. For this reason, it is important to ensure the long-term existence of the enterprise. So before we get into the comments, many times Reuters has stated that the World Economic Forum never put this out. Well, guess what? They did. They made a video where they said, you'll own nothing and you will be happy. It's right here. The link will be provided in the show notes. So they can try to delete it as much as they want. They could try to reframe how they said it as much as they want. Literally, this is what they said. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. We're going to stop. And we are going to go back to that final statement. The management can achieve the above objectives through the economic enterprise for which it is responsible. For this reason, it's important to ensure the long-term existence of the enterprise. Now, see, this is where I believe the mind fuck really comes in. So, if you've worked for a large corporation before, you most likely have heard what I'm about to say to you. Quite often, you'll be sitting in meetings with upper management, and you know, depending on what your position is in the company, you may be sitting with, you know, possibly the board of directors, or you know, maybe people at the CEO level. It's irrelevant. But one message that's always clear, okay? One message that's always clear is that you need to do what's best for the corporation. And you know why you need to do what's best for the corporation? You need to do what's best for the corporation because the corporation is what's sustaining all of our lives. This is where we get our paycheck from. So you need to do what's right for the company, even if it means putting yourself out of a job. That's right, because you need to do what's right for the company. Now, the other piece of it is this: in this dystopian stakeholder future where our entire world is modeled like a corporation. So in companies, there are certain employees that don't offer any value. And in most corporations, those employees, unfortunately, they get let go after a certain amount of time. They get fired. What happens? You can't fire them from the world. So what happens there? Kind of weird. Kind of makes you think, right? Look, personally, I don't think the World Economic Forum makes any traction in this shit. I know that they have somebody that sits on the board of directors, on the Ethereum board of directors. They're also championing this bullshit token called Celo, which runs on the theory of sacred economics, whatever the hell that means. They're definitely trying to position themselves to be a power in the world. They've already been able to fool so many elites with their grift. And the one thing for real, I'm not just saying this because it's a Bitcoin show. The one thing that actually stands in the way of their ability to control more than they already do is Bitcoin. The World Economic Forum, they desperately need all of us to give them this power of authority. We need to understand this, okay? Power doesn't just happen in a vacuum. People give power. They see a person or a group that they feel is going in the direction that they want, that will give them the benefits that they desire. And so they relinquish that power. So you need to remember, these people cannot have what we will not give them.